Welcome everyone. In today's lesson, we are going to continue with inter-VLAN routing, but focusing on router on a stick. If you remember, router on a stick is different from legacy inter-VLAN routing because it doesn't need as many router interfaces to be used in inter-VLAN routing. So let's look at this figure. We have two switches connected together, and then this one switch is connected to the router, and these colored lines here are the trunk links. We have this PC in VLAN 10 with the gateway 192.168.10.1, and then we have this PC in VLAN 20. On the interface gigabit Ethernet 0/0/1 on the router here, we will have to create sub-interfaces that will be linked to the various VLANs. Now assume that R1, S1, and S2 have initial basic configurations. So we are just going to focus on doing the inter-VLAN routing. We are not going to create VLANs anymore. We are going to assume it has been done. So currently PC1 and PC2 cannot ping each other because they are in different subnets. They are on separate networks, and when it is separate networks, separate subnets, they need a layer 3 device to connect them together. To enable devices to ping each other, the switches must be configured with VLANs and trunking, and the router must be configured with inter-VLAN routing. So very importantly, these trunks must be configured and the router must be configured as well. So these are the steps to follow to configure S1 with VLANs and trunking. First, create and name the VLANs, create the management interface, configure access ports, and then configure trunking ports. So this is an example for S2. Also for S1 is also similar. So first step, create and name the VLAN. So here we have VLAN 10, VLAN 20, and VLAN 99, or management VLAN. And then on the management interface, we need to give it an IP address. And also to make sure that it is active with the no-shut command. And then we have to configure the default gateway for the switch, because the switch needs to send information to the default gateway, so we need to configure the default gateway for the switch. And that default gateway will be attached to the management VLAN, which is in this subnet. So if you notice, this is 99.3 and the default gateway is 99.1. After that, you configure the access ports. So here, the interface fast Ethernet 0/18 is configured as an access port, and then it is attached to VLAN 20. Interface fast Ethernet 01 is configured as trunk. The router on a stick method requires you to create a sub-interface for each VLAN to be routed. A sub-interface is created using the interface ID, sub-interface ID command. So the sub-interface syntax is the physical interface, followed by a period and a sub-interface number. As you can see here, I have color-coded the instruction. So this purple here is the physical interface, the green is the period, and the blue is the sub-interface number. Although not required, it is customary to match the sub-interface number to the VLAN number. This is for ease of identification when you are trying to troubleshoot. You know this sub-interface is for that particular VLAN. Each sub-interface is then configured with the following two commands. This command configures the sub-interface to respond to the 802.1q encapsulated traffic from the specified VLAN ID. Then you have to set the IP address and subnet mask for the sub-interface. So we use this command, IP address, the IP address you want to assign, and the subnet mask. This address typically serves as the default gateway for the identified VLAN. Repeat the process for each VLAN to be routed. So if you have 3 VLANs, have 3 sub-interfaces. If you have 5 VLANs, have 5 sub-interfaces. Each router subinterface must be assigned an IP address on a unique subnet for routing to occur. When all subinterfaces have been created, enable the physical interface using the no shutdown command to make sure that the interface is active. There's no use having all of these subinterfaces when the main interface is down. If the physical interface is disabled, all the subinterfaces are disabled as well. So let's look at the configuration in R1. We have assigned this particular interface G0/0/1, to handle all the different VLANs. And here we are configuring the subinterfaces. So if you see here, the physical interface, the period, and the VLAN ID. You can put a description to help you. This instruction tells the router that it needs to learn and use encapsulation.1q protocol, and then this particular subinterface is attached to VLAN 10. And then you give it the IP address and subnet mask within the same subnet as VLAN 10, and then exit. And you do that the same for VLAN 20, VLAN 99. Then you go to the main physical interface, which is interface G0/0/1, and then you type no shutdown. The router on a stick configuration is complete after the switch trunk and the router subinterfaces have been configured. The configuration can be verified from the host, router, and switch. From a host, verify connectivity to a host in another VLAN using the ping command. Ping is a good command to have to verify connectivity. In addition to using ping between devices, the following show commands can be used to verify and troubleshoot the router on a stick configuration. This includes show IP route to show the routing table, show IP interface brief, show interfaces, and show interfaces trunk. That is the end of router on a stick. The configurations are pretty simple and straightforward. In the next lesson, we will look at how to configure inter-VLAN routing using layer 3 switches. Until then, goodbye.